My beloved child, listen to me in the quiet place beneath all the noise. Not every uneasy feeling is my warning. Discomfort may be asking you to pay attention, but it is not permission to reach a verdict. A feeling can become a doorway to wisdom when you bring it before me. It becomes a counterfeit guide when you obey it before testing what is true. I know how quickly uncertainty can trouble your heart. A reply takes longer than expected. A familiar voice sounds different. An obstacle interrupts your plans. An unfamiliar opportunity appears. Tension enters a relationship that once felt secure. In those moments, your mind may begin filling the silence with explanations. It may call delay, rejection, change, betrayal, and uncertainty danger. Beloved, I do not condemn you for this. I know what you have survived. I know the promises that were broken, the signs you wish you had noticed, and the nights when you wondered why you did not see the pain coming. Becoming watchful after being hurt does not make you foolish or faithless. But I love you too deeply to let yesterday's wound become today's unquestioned authority. Discernment and suspicion are not the same. Discernment slows you down so truth can speak. Suspicion rushes you forward so fear can finish the story. Discernment asks, "What do I know?" Fear declares, "I already know what this means." Discernment can wait, pray, listen, and examine. Fear demands certainty now, even if it must invent certainty to obtain it. As it is written, I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. My wisdom does not require reckless accusation. My peace does not hold your thoughts hostage. It stands like a guard at the gate of your heart, allowing you to look clearly without surrendering to panic. Therefore, slow down, my child. Bring me the feeling before you build a conclusion around it. Examine where it came from. Test the fruit it is producing. Gather what is true. Set boundaries that match what you actually know, and take wise action without hatred, panic, or shame. You do not have to ignore your uneasiness, but neither must you instantly obey it. I am teaching you to be careful without becoming suspicious, alert without becoming consumed, protected without becoming imprisoned by fear. And to recognize that difference, you must understand why fear can sound so convincing after pain. Pain can become a relentless watchman, my beloved child. After betrayal, the mind remembers what it failed to notice, what it dismissed, what it explained away. Then it makes a private vow, I will never be caught unaware again. That vow may feel like wisdom, but when fear takes control of it, watchfulness becomes exhaustion. You no longer observe what is happening. You search for proof that what happened before is about to happen again. I know the nights when your thoughts have circled the same conversation. I know the tension that settles into your body when an answer is delayed. I know how past wounds, present pressure, and future uncertainty can join their voices until one concern sounds like a multitude. Your heart races, your rest disappears, and your mind rehearses the worst outcome as though repetition could prepare you to survive it. Beloved, this reaction is understandable, but it is not infallible. The echo of an earlier wound can be loud without being accurate. A memory can explain why you feel alarmed without proving that the person before you is dangerous. A familiar sensation does not always mean you are facing a familiar threat. When pain is still speaking, every silence can become rejection. Every change can become betrayal. Every delay can become danger. A quiet friend appears angry. A postponed decision appears malicious. A closed door appears like punishment. Fear gathers fragments, arranges them into a story, and then asks you to treat that story as fact. This is why the demand for complete certainty does not calm fear. It feeds it. Life contains pauses you cannot explain, motives you cannot read, and outcomes you cannot control. If peace depends on resolving every unknown, peace will always remain one unanswered question away from disappearing. But I am not asking you to silence your discomfort or pretend that nothing happened. I am teaching you to bring every memory, every emotion, and every interpretation into my presence. Let my peace stand guard while truth is examined. Let my wisdom separate what is present from what is remembered, what is known from what is feared, and what has happened from what you predict will happen. Ask yourself gently, what is the fact before me? What old pain did it awaken? What ending has my fear already written? Do not shame yourself for the answers. Bring them into the light. Healing does not erase your ability to recognize danger. It frees you from seeing danger everywhere. Your old wound may speak, beloved, but it does not have to rule. It may explain the alarm, but it cannot be the final authority over every person, every relationship, and every decision. And once you recognize where the alarm began, you can examine the character of its voice, because genuine discernment and fearful suspicion may begin with the same uneasiness, but they never produce the same fruit. My beloved child, discernment and suspicion may knock on the same door, but they do not enter your heart in the same way, and they do not lead you to the same destination. Both may begin with a moment of discomfort. Both may cause you to pause, but one invites you toward truth, while the other pulls you into a wilderness of imagined meanings. Discernment does not fear time. It permits prayer, patient questions, careful observation, and honest verification. Suspicion demands an answer before the facts have arrived. It whispers, "Decide now, confront now, withdraw now. If you wait, you will be deceived." Beloved, urgency is not always authority. A voice does not come from me merely because it speaks loudly. Listen to their language. Discernment says, "Something here deserves attention." Suspicion says, "I know what this person is hiding." Discernment says, "I need more understanding." Suspicion says, "My uneasiness is all the proof I need." Discernment can confess, "I do not know yet." Fear cannot tolerate those words, so it creates an explanation and calls that explanation revelation. As it is written, a tree is recognized by its fruit. Therefore, examine what each voice produces. Does it make you steady or agitated? Does it lead you toward truthfulness or toward accusation? Does it help you choose a proportionate response, or does it make every concern feel like an emergency? My discernment does not make you careless, but it makes you clear. It teaches you when to speak, when to wait, when to draw near, and when to establish distance. Suspicion keeps moving the boundary of proof. One answer comforts it for a moment, then another doubt appears. One reassurance is given, then a new test is invented. It watches, checks, replays, and searches, yet never arrives at rest, because the wound beneath the questions has not been healed. When alarm rises, ask, what do I actually know? What am I assuming? What outcome have I already begun rehearsing? What action would still be wise if my interpretation proved incomplete? These questions do not weaken your protection. They keep fear from wearing the clothing of wisdom. Remember, beloved, carefulness protects both truth and people. It protects you from ignoring real patterns, and it protects others from being condemned by imagined motives. Suspicion sacrifices, both because immediate certainty feels safer than humble waiting. Let my peace stand at the gate of your heart while the evidence is tested. Let truth, not agitation, determine what enters and what must remain outside. For the voice that comes from me can withstand time, prayer, light, and honest examination. And this distinction matters deeply, because suspicion never remains hidden inside the mind. If it is not tested there, it soon enters your words, shapes your reactions, and places even safe people on trial. My beloved child, an unchecked suspicion rarely remains a private thought. It begins with something small. A message is unanswered, a plan changes, a conversation feels different. That is the observation. Then fear adds an interpretation. They are avoiding me. Interpretation becomes motive. They want to deceive me. And motive becomes a verdict. They cannot be trusted. In only a few moments, uncertainty has built a courtroom, appointed itself judge, and sentenced a person whose heart you cannot see. I know you may call this protection. You may ask the same question in different ways, hoping a contradiction will appear. You may create secret tests, monitor small details, withdraw affection, or speak with indirect hostility while waiting for the other person to confess to something you have not established. But beloved, behavior that seeks safety can still make a relationship unsafe. No person can prove every negative. They cannot prove they never formed the thought you imagined, never concealed the motive you suspected, or never intended the outcome you fear. When reassurance is offered but the standard of proof keeps moving, the questioning does not end. It only becomes more demanding. Then trust erodes. Honest conversation becomes dangerous because every word may be reinterpreted. Safe people become exhausted from defending themselves against charges they cannot answer. And you become more isolated, not because everyone abandoned you, but because suspicion slowly pushed away the very people who were trying to remain near. Remember, my child, You may confront what you can observe without claiming authority over what remains hidden. You can say, "This happened, and it affected me," without declaring, "I know the evil reason you did it." Accusation must not outrun evidence. Let your words be governed by truth, patience, humility, and love. Therefore, when concern arises, speak plainly. When the plan changed without explanation, I felt unsettled. I do not yet know what it means, so I want to ask you directly. Describe the event. Name the response it awakened. Admit what you do not know. Ask a clear question. Then listen, not merely for the answer you fear, but for the truth that is actually given. This does not mean ignoring repeated dishonesty, threats, manipulation, or harmful conduct. Genuine patterns must be faced, and wise boundaries may be necessary. But imagined certainty is not permission to wound another person. Beloved, suspicion can become the relational danger it claims to prevent. It can turn love into surveillance, questions into traps, and caution into condemnation. Yet refusing suspicion does not require you to become blind to danger. You need peace, but peace must be understood correctly, so it becomes a guard at the gate of your heart, not a curtain drawn across reality. My beloved child, my peace is not a blindfold placed over your eyes. It is a guard standing at the gate of your heart, examining what enters before fear can turn one piece of information into a complete catastrophe. Peace does not erase reality. It gives you the steadiness to face reality without allowing chaos to become your master. My peace does not wait for every circumstance to become comfortable. It does not require every question to be answered, every relationship to be predictable, or every outcome to be secured. It can remain with you while answers are slow, while plans are changing, and while difficult facts are still being understood. As it is written, the peace that surpasses understanding will guard your heart and mind. It guards you not by hiding the truth, but by keeping panic from controlling what you do with the truth. Beloved, peace steadies your voice when you must ask a difficult question. It steadies your thoughts when unexpected news arrives. It steadies your reactions when conflict tempts you to speak before you understand. It steadies your decisions so you do not confuse urgency with wisdom or agitation with prophecy. Remember these two corrections. Panic is not automatically a warning from me, and calm is not automatic proof that a situation is safe. Someone may feel intense fear where no danger has been established. Another person may feel strangely calm while overlooking a harmful pattern. Feelings matter, but they must be tested by truth, wisdom, observable fruit, and responsible action. A peaceful person can still write down what happened. A peaceful person can seek counsel, ask for clarification, obtain medical or professional guidance, decline access, or establish distance. If immediate danger is present, a peaceful person can leave and seek help without waiting for perfect understanding. Firm action does not require hatred, dramatic accusation, or revenge. Denial says, "I refuse to look because the truth may disturb me." Trust says, "I will look clearly, but fear will not decide my response." Denial closes the eyes. Trust opens them and places what is seen beneath my wisdom. Therefore, do not ask only, "Does this choice feel peaceful?" Ask, "Is it truthful? Is it wise? Is it proportionate to what I know? Does it remain consistent after prayer, time, and examination?" Let peace improve your perception, not replace it. Let it guard your heart, not silence your judgment. Now that peace has been restored to its proper place, you are ready to move from recognizing the problem to testing the impression. And the first movement of true discernment is simple, beloved. Pause before fear turns urgency into action. Pause, my beloved child, before you accuse, withdraw, expose, decide, or send the message your agitation has written. Become still before me. Discernment can be practiced through 6 movements. Pause, pray, gather the facts, examine the trigger, seek wise counsel, and choose the least harmful action that remains faithful to truth. Begin with the pause. If no one is in immediate danger, delay the irreversible response. Do not publish what you cannot retrieve. Do not end what you have not examined. Do not turn one painful moment into a permanent decision merely because fear demands relief. Waiting is not weakness. A pause allows the storm inside you to settle enough for hidden assumptions to rise into view. What felt like certainty in the first hour may reveal itself as wounded interpretation by the next morning. What sounded like my warning in the heat of emotion may become only an echo of an earlier fear when brought into the light. Then pray, beloved, not merely for confirmation of what you already believe, but for wisdom that can correct you. Do not come to me saying only, "Show me that I am right." Come willing to ask, "Show me what is true." My presence is not a courtroom where you recruit me as a witness for your accusation. It is a refuge where your heart can become quiet enough to receive correction without shame. Pray this way: quiet my mind, correct my interpretation, reveal what is true, make me willing to be wrong, give me courage if action is required, and patience if more understanding is needed. Surrender the unanswered question, surrender the unfinished story, surrender the pressure to explain every silence, every delay, and every change before the evidence has arrived. You can trust my character without possessing complete understanding. You can remain near me even while circumstances remain unresolved. But do not confuse patience with avoidance. Set a time to revisit the concern, perhaps after you have rested, gathered information, or spoken with someone directly. Return to the matter and continue testing it. Waiting wisely says, "I will not react now, but I will not neglect what deserves attention." Avoidance says, "I refuse to look. These are not the same." Beloved, what is true does not need panic to keep it alive. If the concern is real, it will remain worthy of attention after prayer. If a pattern is present, patient observation will make it clearer. If action is necessary, steadiness will help you act more wisely. The pause has now created room within you, but do not fill that room with another cycle of speculation. Fill it with truth by separating what happened, what you concluded, and what old wound may have shaped the story. My beloved child, when uneasiness rises, place what you are experiencing into 3 clear columns: the fact, the story, and the trigger. This simple separation will help you see where observation ends and fear begins. The fact is what could be described without guessing. The story is the meaning your mind has added. The trigger is the earlier pain or present pressure that makes one interpretation feel immediately convincing. A message went unanswered. That is the fact. This person is deliberately rejecting me, is the story. A past abandonment may be the trigger. Do you see the difference, beloved? The unanswered message may deserve attention, but it does not contain its own explanation. Perhaps an opportunity closes. The fact is that you were not selected. The story may say, "I will never succeed, and everyone is against me." The trigger may be years of feeling overlooked. Perhaps you receive criticism at work. The fact is that a concern was raised. The story may say, "They are preparing to remove me." The trigger may be financial pressure or an earlier failure. A family disagreement, a changed schedule, or a canceled plan can awaken the same chain. Watch for the language of catastrophe. Always, never, everyone, nothing. They always disrespect me. Nothing ever works. Everyone eventually leaves. These words turn one moment into an entire destiny. Replace them with precision. This happened today. This is the second time this concern has appeared. I do not yet know why the plan changed. Precise language gives truth room to breathe. Then gather what is relevant. Ask direct questions. Review the timeline. Look for repeated conduct. Seek confirmation where confirmation is possible. Do not create secret tests designed to trap someone into proving your fear. Observe openly and honestly. One incident may justify a conversation. A consistent pattern may justify a boundary. Repeated deception, intimidation, or harmful conduct must not be dismissed as mere sensitivity. Discernment respects context, but it also respects accumulation. It neither magnifies one fragment into a verdict, nor ignores many fragments that form a clear pattern. Examine yourself without blaming yourself. Ask, am I exhausted? Am I grieving? Am I under unusual pressure? Do I feel rejected? Is this moment touching an old wound? Your condition may influence your interpretation, but acknowledging that does not invalidate every concern. It simply helps you see more clearly. Beloved, take every thought captive to truth. Refuse naive dismissal and refuse unsupported accusation. Name the fact, identify the story, recognize the trigger, then allow my peace to guard the space between what you know and what you still need to learn. Facts bring clarity, my child, but mature discernment requires more than solitary analysis. It also needs time that reveals fruit, wise voices that expose blind spots, and boundaries proportionate to what has actually been shown. My beloved child, truth does not become weaker when it is brought into prayer, examined over time, or tested through honest questions. What is true can endure the light. Fear, however, often resists anything that delays its verdict. It says, do not ask, do not wait, do not let anyone challenge what you feel. But wisdom is not threatened by examination. Time can reveal what one moment cannot. A single unusual interaction may remain ambiguous, while repeated conduct forms a recognizable pattern. Words can be impressive for an hour, but character becomes visible across choices, pressures, and consequences. Therefore, do not judge only by intensity, watch the fruit. Seek counsel, beloved, but choose your advisors carefully. Do not run only to the person who will inflame your suspicion, and do not confide only in someone who dismisses every concern to avoid discomfort. Find a mature, trustworthy voice that will ask, what happened? What do you know? What are you assuming? Is anyone unsafe? What response fits the evidence? Good counsel does not use spiritual language to manufacture certainty. It will not declare hidden motives merely to sound authoritative. It helps you distinguish warning from wounded expectation, fact from fear, and caution from condemnation. Remember, uncertainty can still justify restraint. You may slow a relationship without calling the other person wicked. You may delay a commitment without declaring the opportunity corrupt. You may decline an invitation, limit access, or ask for more information because trust has not yet been established. A boundary is not a verdict about someone's soul. It is a decision about what access is wise at this time, not so that you become cold, but so that love remains joined to wisdom. A precious garden is not hateful because it has a gate. Let your response rise in proportion to what is known. First observe, then clarify. If concern remains, reduce exposure. Document important events when necessary. Seek support. And when repeated evidence or genuine danger warrants it, take decisive protective action. If your safety or another person's safety is immediately threatened, create distance and seek appropriate help first. You do not need to remain in danger while trying to achieve perfect spiritual certainty. Reflection can continue from a place of safety. Choose the least harmful wise action, one that protects life, integrity, and truth without spreading accusations that have not been established. Be firm where firmness is required. Be humble where knowledge is incomplete. Be peaceful without becoming passive. Now the framework is complete. Pause, pray, gather facts, examine triggers, seek counsel, and act proportionately. Yet principles become powerful when they are practiced. So let us carry this process into the ordinary moments where fear most often disguises itself as my voice. My beloved child, imagine that someone you love begins replying more slowly, and their tone feels unfamiliar. Fear may whisper, they are pulling away, they are hiding something, prepare to be abandoned, but pause, what is known? The replies have slowed, what is assumed? That rejection is the reason, what has been triggered? Perhaps an earlier abandonment. Pray, ask directly, and observe the pattern. If the person is overwhelmed and answers honestly, let truth quiet the story. If avoidance and dishonesty continue, set a boundary proportionate to what is revealed. Now imagine an opportunity arrives with excitement and pressure. You are told to decide immediately or lose everything. Do not call urgency favor merely because the offer is attractive. Review the facts, the cost, the consequences, and the integrity required. Ask wise counsel. Can the opportunity withstand a reasonable question? Can it survive prayer and examination? What is genuine does not need manipulation to force your consent. Perhaps a door closes without warning. You feel disappointed, and fear declares, something is attacking my future. Another voice may insist, this must be divine protection. Beloved, do not manufacture certainty in either direction. A closed door may contain wisdom you cannot yet see, or it may simply be a disappointment you must navigate faithfully. Grieve what was lost, seek understanding where possible, and ask, what is the next honest step before me? Trust does not require you to explain the entire plan. Then alarming news arrives concerning health, finances, or family. Your mind races from one fact to the worst possible ending. Pause and pray, but also gather concrete information. Speak with qualified people. Review the report, the account, or the actual circumstances. Take responsible precautions. Faith does not require denial, and wisdom does not become unbelief merely because it uses practical help. Finally, consider a situation where the evidence is no longer ambiguous. Promises are repeatedly broken, threats are made, conduct becomes controlling or harmful. Discernment does not ask you to remain exposed while collecting endless proof. Document what matters. Restrict access. Seek support. Create distance when safety requires it. Act firmly without revenge, exaggeration, or public claims beyond what can be established. In every situation, return to the same questions. What do I know? What am I assuming? What wound has been touched? Who can offer wise counsel? What response is truthful, proportionate, and safe? Suspicion never finishes its work. It demands another check, another test, another reassurance, because it believes control can remove every unknown. Discernment reaches a faithful decision and then releases what cannot be controlled. It watches the fruit without becoming a prisoner of surveillance. So remember the rhythm, my beloved child. Slow down, stay near, seek truth, watch the fruit, guard your heart, and act in peace. Use it when relationships feel uncertain, when opportunities appear urgent, when doors close, when troubling news arrives, and when real danger requires courage. You have now practiced the path from alarm to wisdom. It is time to release the burden of suspicion, receive the sound mind I give you, and commit your future decisions to discernment governed by truth and guarded by peace. My beloved child, you do not need to stand guard over every unknown in order to remain under my care. You do not need to inspect every silence, decode every expression, or control every outcome. I am teaching you to walk carefully without walking afraid. You have learned to move from racing to pausing, from assuming to asking, from accusing to testing, and from controlling to acting wisely. This is not weakness. This is the strength of a sound mind. It is wisdom governed by truth, courage softened by humility, and carefulness protected from becoming suspicion. Now pray with me. Father, I surrender the betrayals that taught me to expect danger everywhere. I surrender the pressure I carry today, the uncertainty I fear tomorrow, and the unanswered questions I keep trying to solve. Quiet my racing thoughts. Heal the places where old pain still interprets new moments. Renew my mind and teach me to recognize what is true. Give me clear judgment when evidence is present, courage when protective action is necessary, and humility when my conclusions are mistaken. Teach me whom to trust, where to place boundaries, when to speak, and when to wait. Keep me from ignoring genuine danger, but also keep me from condemning people through fear. Beloved, I declare peace over your thoughts, your conversations, your home, your work, and every decision before you. Let peace remain at the gate of your heart, not as a fragile feeling that disappears when circumstances change, but as a faithful guard that keeps panic from ruling your response. Stay close to me. Bring every concern into the light. Do not rush the verdict. Do not ignore the truth. Ask what is known. Examine what has been triggered. Seek wisdom. Watch the fruit. And choose the response that protects life without abandoning love. Go in peace, my child. Walk in freedom. You are not called to be naive, and you are not called to be suspicious. Discernment will make you careful, but my peace will keep your carefulness from becoming fear. I am with you, guiding your steps, guarding your heart, and teaching you to see clearly.